All right, what's good? What's poppin', party people? You are tuning in for another episode of Pop Talk. This is your man, Professor Nims. I'm signing on for the Casual Rand
What up, though?
and Boston Jared. All right, so our first topic of the night is we're going to talk about the news of Canelo Alvarez, who has jettisoned his relationship with DAZN and has decided to sign a 3-fight deal with PBC worth a reported $100 million, which seems a little bit low for Canelo Alvarez. But with this new agreement, he is scheduled to fight not Jamal, but JERMELL CHARLO, the undisputed super welterweight champion or junior middleweight champion, however you want to refer to it. And so this will be in September, I believe, during Mexican Independence Day weekend.
They're pushing for the end of September. September 30th.
End of September. Canelo got bumped.
He did.
He got bumped?
He got bumped off.
UFC.
Date.
Really?
Oh, did UFC take the date?
UFC took the date.
Well, so they're fighting at the end of September.
End of September. He got bumped off of Mexican. Canelo, the face of Mexican boxing, got bumped off of Mexican Independence Day. You're giving us this again, giving fans the fight that he wants to make and not the fight that fans want to see.
Well,
Right?
I mean, we're being presumptuous, right? Because
What do you mean?
well, I'm saying maybe Jamal didn't want to fight.
Yeah, I'm hearing that like his personal issues is causing him saying that he wasn't going to be ready by September to fight. So I think his brother just like, hey, if you don't fight him, I'll fight him. Hey, and they made the fight.
Right, but why are we even talking about Charlos? Why aren't we talking about Benavidez or Morrell? I get it that Willie School, whatever, doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Why is Charlo even an option? Why are either the Charlos even an option? Why is that even being entertained? David Benavidez, Canelo Alvarez is the biggest fight in the sport of boxing right now.
It can be made. I mean, you can't work to that, but I mean, let's be honest, the black community, the hip hop community hasn't been calling for Canelo Alvarez to fight Charlo.
Yeah, maybe 2 years ago, and not the smaller Charlo, the bigger one.
No, the bigger one. Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I think there's some behind the scenes. I don't think that he's mentally in the correct mind frame to do it. I think his brother might have been stepping up for Big Bro,
But that's what I'm asking you. But that's what I'm asking you and the people who are watching. Why is Charlo even being considered? Neither Charlo has fought at 168 pounds. Neither one is ranked at 168 pounds. David Benavidez is the mandatory. He's another Mexican fighter, right? It's Canelo Benavidez is the biggest fight to be made in the sport, right?
Hey,
why isn't this fight being made? Why are Canelo Alvarez fans and a lot of these YouTube personalities who will make excuses for this motherfucker, but whatever he does, why are they sweeping this under the rug? It's undisputed versus undisputed. Nobody asked for this fight. Nobody. Just like nobody asked for Bivol, and nobody asked him to try to fight Badu Jack or Makabu. Like, why is this guy able to continue to get away with this shit? It's bizarre to me. This shit's crazy.
I think signing the PBC actually was for Canelo was ingenious because everybody starts thinking that he's coming to PBC, now he has access to Benavidez, Morrell, Charlo, etc. But the way he set this up, even if it was Jamal Charlo, if he beats him, he already said he wanted both Charlo brothers. So that's 2 fights. And then if he ever get a rematch with any of them, that's 3 fights, and he can be out of there without. I think that fight is out the window.
He didn't set this up. He tried to make 2 other fights before going over to PBC. This was his.
True.
This was a.
I'm talking about the PBC. I'm saying the PBC option. Once he came over to PBC, I think that I think the fans thought once he came to PBC, the Benavidez fight will be closer to being made. In actuality, if you look at that landscape, man, and the chance for a rematch or whatever, I think within those 3 fights at PBC, Benavidez don't get sniffed.
So what you're saying, this is a perfectly engineered duck or cherry pick, is what you were saying.
For $100 million,
let's put it that way: a perfectly engineered cherry pick or a perfectly engineered duck to avoid fighting the more.
If he beats Jermell, then Jamal's going to say, "I'm ready to fight next year." So May,
I think that might be a stretch right now. I think that might be a stretch right now. We don't even know if this nigga's gonna ever fight again. This guy,
I think what's holding him up is his legal battles and his family with his family. So
now the legal battle's over, from what I understand, right? He got possession. He won the custody battle. He's got custody of the kids.
From what I hearing is like the money side. He didn't want to fight because of the money this year. You know what I'm saying? So next year is possibly he can fight. I don't know. That's just this word on the street or speculation. But what I'm saying though, if he fight Jermell, if he whacks him, no rematch, then he got Jamal next year. And if that fight is anyway controversial, then there's going to be a rematch. That's 3 fights right there. There's no way that Benavidez slides into there.
Well, unless there's an injury,
you still have Andrade, and so you know what I'm saying. So he can.
He ain't getting there. He ain't getting
for the third fight. Hey, Andrade.
Yeah, the only way Andrade gets a Canelo fight is if they both lose. Because if Andrade might be angling for a plant fight, or they might try to feed Andrade.
I think it's the plant.
Or they might try and feed Andrade to Morrell. And he's not gonna beat Morrell, right? So Andrade loses, and if Canelo loses, then you might be looking at an Andrade Canelo fight if both guys lose somehow. I don't see it at this point. It's so, and I don't understand. I'm not talking to you guys, but this guy does not fight fights he doesn't think he could win. There are a handful of guys out there, him and his team have said, we're not fighting. Andrade is one of those guys. Benavidez is clearly the other one. And you can pick and choose who you think, who else might be on that list of guys. Just aren't going to fight.
But y'all still downplaying Jermell, man. I give him fighter's chance. I don't.
Let's talk about that. So, right, like, Cam, you ain't said that. What do you give Jermell a shot, Cam?
Fighting 2 weight divisions above a weight that he's never fought at, I don't give him much of a shot.
I do.
Why you give him a shot?
Because I mean he a natural big 154. So
the people I keep hearing people say that, but like, if he's so big, how is he continuing to shrink down and his genetic twin is unable to? It's
the same thing with Spence. Like Spence just did an interview and he was like, "Look, man, if I didn't have to shrink down, I walk around at 180, 185." So he was like, before fight camp, he go from 185 to 147. So I know Jermell probably walks around at 170.
I don't
but is he
but it doesn't matter what you walk around. I mean,
I understand, but you know what I'm saying. But now he has July, August. He got 3 more months
his body,
keep his size.
His body and head have not been conditioned to take punches from a guy who was at that weight class. Canelo Alvarez has fought people at light heavyweight. It's a difference,
right?
When you're fighting those smaller guys.
We'll see. We'll see. Pacquiao, prime example. You know what I'm saying? So it can be done.
Stop.
It can be done. It can be done.
Stop it, please. Nah, come on. What they dragged Oscar down to some ridiculous catchweight. Didn't they make Oscar come down? He looked like a Holocaust survivor in that fight. His rib cage was showing. His eyes were sucked into his head and shit like that. Like, There's
he was
a
terrible.
reason.
It was at 147, but Oscar only gained 2 pounds after he weighed. I'm actually still watching that fight right now. He actually only gained 2 pounds after that, and then every other fight that he fought was a catch weight. He never fought, like when he fought Antonio Margarito, it wasn't at super welterweight. When he fought
Margarito.
Yeah, when
talking about
Pacquiao
Pacquiao.
fought Antonio
Oh,
Margarito.
I thought you meant Oscar. I thought you said Oscar. I'm sorry.
No. When I'm talking about Pacquiao, when he was fighting those were not at their fighting weight. Even when he fought, he brought Cotto down to 143 or something like that. So
yeah.
Hey, the dude believes he can do it. He was talking about it way before this fight was even thought about.
That's true. You're right.
I'm not going to knock him. If he sees something that he can exploit, you know what I'm saying? And he's been proving motherfuckers wrong for years now. So I'm still
proving. What you mean? Proving who wrong? Like when
everybody, he's undisputed.
Like when has he not been a
Randy.
favorite? When has he not been a favorite in a fight? When has he not been favored in a fight?
He's always been favored.
Yeah, let's not put a cake
always
on
been
Jermell
favored in a
Charlo
fight. Like
here.
you acting like he's overcoming these mountains. Like come on.
The second fight against Harrison, he was not favored.
No.
He was not favored against Harrison.
I don't think the second fight. I don't think he was favored.
I don't know, Randy. The point is, I think the point Cam is making. Let's not make Charlo out into this career underdog, this career.
No, I never said that.
Right?
I never said that. But hey, he's undisputed, and nobody just gave it to him.
I mean, look, to an extent. This anecdotally, right? I did not have him picked to beat Castaño in the second fight, and I did not have him picked to beat Tony Harrison in the second fight. So in that regard, I got to agree. I got to agree with what Randy said anecdotally.
That's between the three of us. So come on, man.
Fair enough. Yeah, but look, two going up 2 weight classes, like I get that his frame might be able to support the weight. He might walk around in XYZ. That doesn't mean he's going to be able to perform at that weight. You know, 2 of the things that make Jermell Charlo what he is his conditioning, right? To me, it's his power, his durability in his chin, and his conditioning, right? Going up, what is it? What's the math? 16 pounds. My math skills aren't that good. Going up, however many amount of pounds that is, we have no idea if his power is going to translate to that weight, and we have no idea if his punch resistance or his durability is going to be there getting hit by those bigger guys. I watched him take shots from Jason Rosario, right? And Jason Rosario, he was bothered by some of them shots that Jason Rosario hit him with, especially to the body.
He know what he getting himself into. I still give him a puncher's chance.
Yeah, he getting himself into a big check. He getting himself into a big check. One, he's going to make a life. He's going to make a tremendous amount of money. 1, 2. It doesn't look like that Tim Tszyu fight was going to be as lucrative. I don't want to jump too much into Tim Tszyu. We're going to do the little segment on Tim Tszyu. I don't think that Tim Tszyu fight was going to pay him what he wanted to get paid. That's why there was scuttlebutt about them going out to Australia. They wanted him to come to Australia because there was more money in Australia. But as an undisputed check. I mean, okay, fair enough. Well, we'll hold on.
Just for the record, so Jermell Charlo in the rematch was a negative 350 stop Aggie favorite, and against Castaño, he was negative 200. So he was a 2-1 favorite and more than a 3.5-1 favorite.
In both of those rematches.
The Harrison and the Castaño?
Harrison and Castaño, huh?
But what else? So it's a 14-pound weight. So he's going up, which is significant. That's
hell yeah.
Super significant. Even, I mean, it's a little bit more than, so, you know, there's been history of, right, the lightweight champion jumping up to welterweight, which is a 12-pound jump. And, you know, we've seen people like Sugar Shane Mosley, who did it successfully, and Adrian Broner, even though put a little asterisk by, you know, Adrian Broner, because he fought the most feather-fisted champion.
Paulie. You know, several guys. Roy Jones went up to heavyweight, right? And fought John Ruiz.
And it was never the same coming back.
Was never
Right. But that you know, that's you're right. You're right. It was never the same after that. It's been done. I would say that I would argue that it's been done by more skilled people. Shane Mosley, in one example, was a PED abuser, right? We know that now. He was one of the few guys back then who was hopscotching back and forth between weights, and we know now how he was able to do that without his performance sacrificing. He was on PEDs, right?
And allegedly Pacquiao was, you know, there was something about his PED.
There was a lot of scuttlebutt about Pacquiao. We now know that Roy Jones was a PED user.
Well,
right?
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. I personally
Roy Jones
suspect.
Jr.?
Oh yeah, Roy Jones Jr. is on the record. Yeah, there was some guy he fought towards the end of his career. He knew the guy was on PEDs, so Roy said, "Well, I'm going to use him too." And when I heard that, I said, "Oh, well, this ain't the first time you." I always thought, we getting off subject here, but I've always had a theory that after the first Montel Griffin fight where he got DQ'd, he was on PEDs after that first Montel Griffin fight.
Well,
My personal theory. Yeah, if you look at Roy Jones's physique in that first Montel Griffin fight and look at it when he fights Montel Griffin the second time, where he knocks him out in the first round.
When has he not been cut up like
I never said he wasn't cut. I said look at the change in his physique as far as the muscle mass and the size and the different in his shoulders and his traps and his biceps. Watch the first Montel Griffin fight where he's getting bullied because he's losing that fight. Montel Griffin is bullying him around the ring. He's pushing him around. He's cutting the ring off and beating him down in the corner. You watch that second fight, Roy Jones is gigantic in that fight. He looks like a comic book character. Listeners, go watch for yourselves. Don't take my word for it. Watch for yourselves and come up with your own conclusions. But again, I say all that.
One of my first boxing coaches was on the Olympic team with Roy Jones, and the thing that he told me about him was that he's like, you knew Roy Jones was going to be great because he said he was easily the hardest working person in that Olympic camp. He was like, when they would do their runs or their sprints, he was the first guy finishing, first guy in. And so I just want, there might be some speculation, but from that, this is somebody that worked with him, and these were like high level people. He was just saying that guy would just work harder than everybody else.
I mean, A-Rod and Barry Bonds and those guys all worked hard too. I mean, these guys were Hall of Famers before they started using steroids. You know, it's not always about that. Sometimes that drive to succeed is what puts you over the edge and forces you to use that stuff. We way off topic now, but yeah. This is still cherry picking from Canelo. This is still strategic ducking. This is careful matchmaking, and this is something that, you know, a tactic, a strategy that he's employed for almost the significant part of his career. And it is part of the reason that he has been as successful as he's been. Is very careful matchmaking.
Let me throw this. So if he would have fought, which I think he fully intended to, if he would have fought Jermell Charlo instead of Jermell, have those same sentiment.
Absolutely. Nobody was calling for a Jermell Charlo fight in the year 2023. This guy, Jermell Charlo.
All right, but if he signs a 3-fight deal, like, shouldn't he necessarily work his way up there? So he's going to take on the hardest challenge, and then kind of, to me, because I said it on here, I think I made a bet that I said that within a year that he would fight either Benavidez or Charlo, even though I was, to be honest, I was speaking about the Jermell Charlo. But I think if he, in this 3-fight deal, for example, if he fights Charlo, Andrade, and Benavidez, I think it's hard to, and he still has the best resume in boxing.
He does still have the best resume in boxing. There's no doubt about that. And then there might be something to what you're saying. My thing is this: you're holding up the division in doing this, right? You're giving a guy a shot at your belts, presumably, who has never fought in the division, who hasn't earned his shot at those belts. Meanwhile, there's 3 guys who have earned their positions. They paid their sanctioning fees. they fought their eliminators, they've earned their shot at those belts. You want to pick and choose and do all this shit and fight fights that not necessarily are the highest demand fights, vacate your belts, and then you can go fight fucking a grizzly bear. You can fight John Cena or The Rock or whoever the fuck you want to fight, but don't hold up the whole division, right? Because if you vacate these belts, now Benavidez becomes a champ. He gets elevated, becomes a champ. Morrell gets elevated, becomes a champ overnight. Now, you can actually do what Canelo and the rest of his experienced fan base have been asking the other fighters to do, fight each other. Right now, there's no incentive because these guys are all in position to fight for titles. You elevate Morrell and Benavidez, you have an instant unification fight. Those are meaningful fights. That's a fight that Morrell and Benavidez would jump at as a unification opportunity. But now sitting in the mandatory fight each other, unify, and then go get your belts back.
Okay, we lost you for a quick second.
My fault. Am I back now?
Yeah. Could you just repeat the last kind of sentence you were saying?
I said,
go ahead.
I was saying, let these guys vacate, let these guys fight for belts, then unify, right? Unify those belts again, and then go get your belts back from the winner. Let Andrade and Morrell and Plant and Benavidez do a little round robin. You fight whoever. You fight JERMELL CHARLO. The winner of those four, and go get your belts back and be a two-time undisputed in the same division. But he don't want to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
he wants to have his cake.
It's not. I can't think of anybody who has voluntarily given up their undisputed title. But
Josh Taylor did.
Well, he gave up.
Yeah, he started slicing them off.
He did start doing that. But speaking of holding up the division, we're going to segue into talking about because now with JERMELL CHARLO moving up, he is in essence holding up his division. And
right. We're gonna stop the video though, right?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that segment in 1 second.